So, relationship and marriage counseling, this is one of the programs we do, mindset change, child protection programs, conflict resolution and management, applications, mentorship programs, and financial literacy training. So, those are some of the programs that we run. And personally, I'm not bragging, but by God's grace, I'm an award-winning mental health advocate. I think in mental health, I believe in mental health, everything around me is mental health. Well, I'm also an author. I've written multiple books. Some of you have come across some of my books. And some of you have not come across my books. They're here. Broke by Choice is here. Those, because some people were single from our format we did this morning. So you might need something on the argument and conscience. But one thing I want to let you know that book came after 8 heartbreaks, so you know. After 8 heartbreaks. Yes. Now I'm married. So you might need that book if you are dating. And maybe, you might likely be nursing a wound of some disappointing relationship, which is okay. Because you know that some relationships will only introduce you to nice restaurants and nice places. Overcoming rejection is one of the books, because I know at the place of work, in your family, in your relationships, even in school, where you're born from, or where you're married in, and everywhere, almost like MTN you go, everywhere you go. You might face the rejection and all that, but there is good news. You can turn your dreams into reality and it's all those rejections. Some people might have told you, no, it is impossible, you will never do this. They even have told you, will you manage? But at the end of the day, even some of you have told that now to yourself in form of self-rejection now. But help is available. Of course, hope in the age of, there is a hope in the age of depression. There is still hope. Even when things are falling apart, there is still hope. There is still hope. Help is available. In some of these programs, when my sister Lydia called me, I was like, I will attend. In fact, when she told me it is churches, I picked more interest. Why? We want to do a specialized training program, so that you're able to equip church leaders with the knowledge, skills, and resources necessary to support mental health initiatives within their churches and communities, advocate for mental health awareness, and effectively address mental health concerns. This is why we picked interest, and right now we are running programs where we are intentionally training religious leaders. We are offering training programs for religious leaders. We've so far trained, we are training depending on their affiliations. There are those who are okay with joining the program, those who are not okay with joining the program, but still we are breaking those and helping them. So, at the end of the day, so far we've run programs for Pentecostal pastors, we are doing trainings for the Anglican reverends, we've done the trainings for the Catholic priests and the nuns, and we are doing trainings for the Muslim clerics. Why? Because this category plays a very big role in the community. Let me tell you this. Even in that community where you are, there are people who have never been to your church, and they will never be. But the day they are about to die, they will call for you. I need your, call me my pastor. They will even call you their pastor. Call me my pastor. Call me my pastor. I want to talk to you. Then when he comes, he will confess and will go to heaven. Yes, so the man will confess, the man will accept Christ, the man will become born again, the man will die in peace, and he goes straight to heaven. Why? Because he knows you are there. So we play a big role in our community. That's why we're picking it here. Now, why are we doing this? Why are we being interested in this? Why are we doing these programs? Why do we begin these training programs? Number one, because of the rising mental health concern. Mothers, they say 14 million Ugandans are mentally ill. I'm sure you've seen that newspaper. Another one saying 30% of Ugandans are mentally ill. But to announce to you, almost if you go to every home has a mental ill person. Now, I want to do a bare math. Let's just do a bare math. Right now, they say we are 45 million. Million dollars, right? In our current population census report. Now, if, let's just go with the 14 million. If the 14 million are mentally ill, that means the 14 people come from homes. And these 14 people, at least directly or indirectly, are in contact with at least 2 or 3 people. Okay? Now, before you know it, multiply that number. If you multiply 14 million by 3, what are we getting? Sorry? 42 million. So this 42 million directly are impacted by. So that means you can say all Ugandans are mentally sick. That's why the concern. So that's why we must do something to be able to address this. That's why we began this program. Number 2, why did we begin this program of training? Stigma and discrimination. Stigma is real, friends. Stigma is real. That's why even some of you who could be struggling right now, you are struggling, but you have never shared with anybody. Why? Because of fear of judgment. Stigma is real. We've begun programs where we engage in government entities. For a week, we've camped in Parliament. And our policies do not favor mental health. Are you aware that in many government organs, when somebody develops mental illness, they are fired from work? They lose their jobs. And because of that, people fear to come to their boss at home. I think I have a mental problem. They will lose their jobs. So they fear. Because that's their livelihood. So, out of stigma, self-perceived stigma is real. How do I go for help? How will they see me? And many. So, there are so many. That's why we want to see how do we break stigma. How can we help create awareness that we're able to break stigma so that people access services. Number 3. Limited access to services. I'm aware we are still struggling because the numbers of mental health experts are few and their population is big. But even the few who are there, many people don't reach there. I was just sharing with the pain. I've been to Zombo district. We've done assessment and screening for children in Zombo. And we go to patients there, and sometimes even referring with them to the health facility where mental health services are supposed to be there is hard. The psychiatric nurse I know in the nearest health center, when I reached out to her, she said, in my department, in fact, it was scrapped off because right now I'm dispensing tablets in the pharmacy. Services are not there. We've been to a community where we did screening and we got over 30 people with mental health challenges, mental health conditions. But the nearest health center is 40 kilometers away. Even here, because we know there are many challenges, there are many barriers. Geographical barriers, I just told you 40 kilometers, you can't even go. Financial problems. Let me tell you, some people will want to treat mental illness cases, but the costs involved. If you have somebody who is drinking too much, is into drugs, there is a medication, I can tell you. There is a medicine called naltrexone. Naltrexone takes away the craving for opium, marungi, cocaine, alcohol. But one implant of it, the cost is 2.5. How many Ugandans can afford to get that implant? The cost. We have so many rehabs in this country. But when we hear that we have a rehabilitation center which treats these conditions, but you must pay 3 million per month. Hey, how much? 3 million. How many of us can afford 3 million per month to pay that? Cultural factors. In our cultures, in our backgrounds, we strongly believe that mental health issues are witchcraft. That's why we have also tailored some trainings for our cultural leaders to understand, hey, these things are happening like this. And actually, when you have a deeper discussion with our cultural leaders, they know that these things actually happen. But then they don't know where to go to. Somehow, there is that. So, church leaders can play a vital role in connecting individuals with available resources and advocating to improve the services and its access. That's why you are here as the leaders, as the program directors in your communities, in your projects, and in the overseers. Why are you here? Because we want to see how can we be able to link these service providers, how can we link the people to the right for services. Leaders, if you are a church, you are an overseer, please, I want to call upon you. I know you have days when people come to you for counseling. But I want to announce to you that please learn, you may not employ counselors and psychologists in your church because it may be costly. However, I'm sure in your church you have members who are counselors and you can actually engage them to be supporting church members. I'm glad where we've been engaging in some churches, they have actually take it up. In fact, they've got way beyond to employ counselors and psychologists to be at church. Of course, those are mostly in Kampala churches yet, but our church even within Zombo, Zeu, Pakwash, we can still get there. If you can't employ, at least you have a member in church who is a counselor, you know they are trained, you can actually ask them that please, we want you to build a ministry at church around counseling. Put them as the ministry leader so that they can be able to follow through this, so that we can bring success in the area. Policy and advocacy opportunities. Now, this is where I said it and I want to say it here. I said somewhere and it didn't go well with my people, but still, I will still say it. Are you aware that in the Old Testament, the kings used to go to the priests for counsel and advice? In the Bible, kings will go to them and say, please, what do we do then? In fact, policies were formulated and some of the advocacies and the policies were from the church leaders. But in our country, church is a non-essential service. Are you aware of that? How do I know? COVID taught us. Church was among the non-essential services. So, that's why, that's the reality now. Of course, painful. Brother, you had a group. You can join group 4 right here. Now, that's why we are trying to say, how can a church come now to begin to look at some of the policies and advocate for some of the opportunities? Why? Because church can influence policy decisions. And here in this particular case, we want to see, how can a church embrace mental health policies and begin to put government at task? Through the local government systems. And the problem we have here and we've been having is church has been distant from local government. How many church leaders attend meetings in our district local governments? Apart from being invited to come and open a prayer because of a function. So these are the things that we must begin to embrace. Finally, why are we doing this program? Leadership and collaboration. Effective leadership and collaboration among community stakeholders are essential for driving meaningful change in mental health promotion and support efforts. That's why I want to challenge you from here today. Can you be able to be a voice in your community? Can you begin to collaborate with your leaders? Can you begin to call the DHO, the district health officer, In our health facilities, how are things? Do we have a mental health unit? How effective is it? Begin to engage some of our leaders because you are the big stakeholders. All right?